Hello everybody, it's the Professor, and once again it's the one and only Blue Pill Professor coming at you from the internet and talking to you about the things that we really care about, namely the nature of women and what we are all going to do about it now that we have awoken from our long slumber.
Been dazed and confused for so long it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below.
And this week, on the question of whether a woman's soul was really created below, we turn once again to the Bible and the book of Ecclesiasticus. I should note, this is not considered Holy Scripture in several Christian denominations, but it is a part of the so-called Apocrypha, and it is recognized as Holy Scripture by the Roman Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. According to the book of Ecclesiasticus, you should not be jealous of the wife you love, but do not teach her lessons in how to harm you. Do not put yourself in a woman's hands, or she may come to dominate you completely. In fact, turn your eyes from a handsome woman. Because of a woman's beauty, many have been undone when they make passion flare up with fire. Sin began with woman, and thanks to her, we all must die. Do not let water find a leak, nor a spiteful woman give free rein to her tongue. If she will not do as you tell her, get rid of her. And I'll bet you didn't think that was in the Bible, and the Roman Catholic Bible no less. To review, so far in this podcast series, we have covered waking up from the matrix, the basics of female attraction, seduction in terminology such as alpha, beta, O, and frame. And today we're going to combine two of those topics, specifically seduction and frame. So we'll discuss how you develop your seductive frame. And in order to accomplish this, we turn to the truly epic book by Robert Greene, The Art of Seduction. And a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people don't understand it. He lays out in the book 9 types of seducers. And what people don't get is that you're 2 or 3 or 4, possibly, of those seducers. Not 100%. Nobody's 100% on anything. But the way I did it, when I saw the 9 seducers, I decided what percent I was of each of those. I picked 4. So keep that in mind as we go through the 9 types of seducers. So let us get started. The first type of seducer we know, all of us guys know well, and it is the siren. The siren is a female seducer, and it's basically the slut who uses her body to entice the man. The second type of seducer is the rake, and the rake is an insatiable, intense passion for this woman. And if you play it right, it activates the desirability cue that we talked about. I think it was the second podcast on female attraction. Of all the 9 types of seducers, I figured that I was about 50% rake. While I certainly don't recommend that you need to be 50% of the rake seducer, I do recommend you work on being the rake. It is almost universally attractive to women because of that desirability cue. The third type of seducer is the ideal lover. When I was watching the movie Frozen with my kids, I had to stop it. If you've seen the movie, Hans is the bad guy. He's the prince, and he seduces Anna. And Anna's an idiot. She falls for it, and just everything she wanted, he became. Oh, I'm lonely some of the time. If I was with you, you'll never be lonely. And that's basically what the ideal lover does. Another way to think of it is to walk into a club and see the chick dancing there by herself, staring off into space. You know, she's just waiting for a guy to appear in front of her. And that's what you do with the ideal lover. You create her fantasy. I didn't think I was much of an ideal lover, and my wife agrees. But again, this is something you can work on if that's what you choose. The fourth type of seducer is the dandy. And this is one I do not understand. It's something about this weird combination of masculine and feminine qualities that is enticing or arousing for some women, and I guess some men. You can think of, for example, the hot librarian. You can see the contrast between the prim and proper librarian and the slutty hot librarian look. This would be an example of a female dandy. A male dandy embodies the masculine and feminine in a sexually arousing way. You could imagine a man with large muscles talking in a high squeaky voice. And of course, our own manosphere example of the dandy mystery would do pickup artistry in a fedora, a goofy hat. So good luck with that. I don't understand it, but maybe it'll work for you. The fifth type of seducer is the natural. And this is a person with a childlike view of the world. You know, with a woman, a natural is everything sun and roses, and she's sweet and happy to be alive. With a man, a natural is a natural seducer. And in fact, the book The Natural by Richard Verena describes this ideal person that we all want to be. The fun, cool, calm, natural guy who everybody says is like a big kid. So I figured out that I was about 10 to 20% natural. My wife is actually potent natural seducer than me. Number 6 is the specialty of all women today in marriage, it seems, and that is the coquette. This is the tease, delaying sex, making them wait for it, or as we say in pickup artistry, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. The 7th type of seducer is the charmer, and we all know the charming guy who can charm the panties off the girls. He's not aggressive, just what women call a nice guy, and he disarms them. This often works well in conjunction with the natural. And there's a dispute, actually. Robert Greene created this category, the charmer. It was formerly subsumed into the natural, or vice versa, whatever. The charmer and natural were one category, is what I'm saying. Then there's category 8, the charismatic. Oh, and by the way, I estimate myself to be about 10% charmer, and as far as charismatic, probably more like 30% charismatic. And the charismatic is a guy with strong, powerful, self-confident sexual energy, sense of purpose. He's the guy with that piercing stare and the fiery rhetoric. Yeah, that's me. 30% anyway. And then the final seducer type is the star. And this explains why do girls always go for the drummer in a rock band? Because he is the star. And if you're the star, you don't have to do anything else. Get lots of attention from women, get lots of sex. Those are the 9 types of seducers. I recommend that you pick 2 or 3 or 4 of them and work on those and incorporating those archetypes into your frame and making that you at your best. Now, when you're choosing these, this is married red pill, so we're assuming that you're married. So what I recommend that you do is take into account the type of victim that your wife is when deciding those percentages, because those percentages you assign should represent your completed frame. That is to say, who you are and how you act when you are at your best, and specifically in terms of seduction, and even more specifically in terms of seduction with your wife. So there are 18 types of victims that seducers can seduce. I recommend you Google this, you figure out what kind of seducer you are at your best, or what combination, and then figure out what kind of victim your wife is, because that's going to influence which of the type of seducers you need to work on most. So the 18 types of victims. Number 1, the reformed rake or siren. Basically, guys, if you've got a reformed slut who is riding the cock carousel, the best seducer for that type of person is the rake. Give them that feeling of being desired deeply and wanted, because that's why they were a slut to begin with, right? Number 2 is the disappointed dreamer. And these are the classic loner types. They had great ideas, and maybe they discovered the red pill and figured out that their dreams were not going to come true. If you've got a disappointed dreamer on your hands, a charmer, a natural, an ideal lover, or a rake will work just fine for you. The 3rd type of victim is the pampered royal, and these are the godforsaken princesses. And for this one, you need to entertain her. Provide lots of distraction, and keep an eye on her Facebook account, because this type is apt to cheat if they get bored. The 4th type of victim is the new prude, and these are often recovered sluts who suddenly decide they don't want to be slutty anymore. With these types, it's best to be a natural and bring out their sexuality like a pro. And of course that works because that is exactly what she wants. The next victim is the crushed star. In this, your best bet is the charmer, although I would think a natural or an ideal lover will also work. But be careful, because this type can grow greatly dependent on you. The next type is the novice, and with these you just have to be a little bad and train them in the evil dark ways, but don't scare the cat. The next victim is the conqueror, and I recognize myself in this. It says conquerors love power, but they tend to be emotional, and their emotion comes out in outbursts when pushed in matters of love. However, they can be conquered by a natural seducer quite easily. as I myself have learned. The next one is the fetishist, and basically to seduce them, you just have to be willing to provide whatever sick bullshit that they want. The next one is the drama queen, and this one you cannot be nice to because they will push it right to the limit. You have to set boundaries if you've got a drama queen. The next victim is the professor, and for obvious reasons I identified with this one pretty strongly. And I love the description. Professors make excellent victims, for underneath their intellectual strength lie gnawing insecurities. Make them feel like Don Juans to even the slightest degree, and they will be your slave. Yeah. The beauty is the next victim, and the pickup artists say that this type is one of the easiest to seduce. The key is to focus on aspects of her beauty that others don't necessarily notice. But as long as you take the lead with this one, she will be yours relatively easy, no matter what type of seducer you are. The next type of victim is the aging baby. And you would think the natural would be the seducer for the aging baby, but you would be wrong. A natural is an aging baby. And the way to seduce them is not be even more infantile, but to take charge of the details and let the baby be herself. The next one is the rescuer. And to seduce a rescuer, you simply play the damsel in distress. And it doesn't matter, you can be charming, natural, you can be insatiable. Dandy and ideal lover, it doesn't matter. You just have to let her play the rescuer. And most men have found this works for about a month or so. So probably you don't see this very much in marriage, i.e. guys thinking they can turn on their wives by acting helpless. But it is good to be aware, because plenty of women have this gene, and in fact, I think probably most of them make the best wife. The next type of victim is the row, and this works for an experienced man and a much younger woman. The row is the older man or the woman with experience, so we probably won't run into this very much. The next one is the idol worshiper, and with this type, you simply adopt their fanatical cause. The sensualist is the woman looking for feelings and a sexual experience, and I believe the way to seduce this type is to give it to her. The next type is the lonely leader, and I think you may see this among female teachers. They're treated differently, they're leaders, and they're lonely. And unfortunately, they're one of the most difficult types to seduce through flattery and charm. But if you can be superior to a lonely leader and lead them at home, believe me, your life can improve greatly. And then finally is the dandy, or the floating gender victim. So the way to seduce a dandy is to in fact be a dandy. So I know I covered this very fast, but we have this little thing called Google, and I encourage you to figure out the 1 or 2 or 3 type of seducers that you can work on becoming better at, and that you consider what type of victim your wife is when you decide which of those seducer types to work on. So thank you very much for listening. Like, share, comment, and check out the comments below where I leave links to the 18 types of seducers and the 9 types of victims. Again, all from Robert Greene's book, The Art of Seduction. I recommend you go get that immediately, study it, know it, understand it. And while we're on the topic, please visit LedZeppelin.com and buy some of that music. That music means my time is up. And as always, I leave you with the words and wisdom of Mr. Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin.
But now's the time to look and look again at what you see. Is that the way it all